So on today's video, I'll be sharing with you 10 things you shouldn't do in Germany. There are actually so many of them, but I'll just be sharing with you 10 important things you shouldn't do in Germany. Some of these things are actually seriously taken in different states across Germany. So these are 10 things you shouldn't be doing. Some of them actually attract huge fines, and some of them are actually just not taken seriously. Without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So some of these things are actually funny, if I may say to me, so you just have to take notice of these things so you don't seem surprised when you come across some of these things in your everyday life in Germany, but when I start telling you some of these things, some of them might seem really, really funny to you, but it is what it is, right? So live by the rules. Yeah, so number one is for those who own cars. So do not drive on the left lane on the Autobahn. The Autobahn in Germany means the highway. So do not drive on the left lane, except it's really important you have to do so. And in the sense that you want to overtake a different vehicle, so you have to be really, really cautious before you do that. Don't just get on it because you see it's free. No, it might be free, but it's not for you to get in, except you need to. Except it's really important, you need to. So 2, don't walk in the bicycle lane. For those of you who are already in Germany, I'm sure you must have noticed that in every available road in Germany, there is always a bicycle lane. That's how important it is. So you have the road for cars and for trams, and you have the road for pedestrians, and you also have the road for bicycles. So if a bicycle runs into you, maybe you are walking in the bicycle lane, the bicycle rider is on his or her right, and if the police is called, you are to be blamed and you will pay a fine for that because you were walking on a wrong lane. Always a pedestrian walkway for you, so you don't have any business walking on the lane of a bicycle. Number 3 would be, do not use public transportation without a ticket. Do not, I'm still going to emphasize on this, do not use public transportation without a ticket. Why am I emphasizing on this? So when you get on a tram or a train, as the case may be, or the bus, you always see like this thing written both in German, in English, in Turkey, or any other, there's a different language. It's written in 4 different languages, and then of course German. That fine for not paying your ticket is 60 euros. It's written there so you don't say, okay, I didn't see it, I'm new, I really didn't understand how it goes here. No, you don't have any excuse. So with all this, it actually happened to your guy. Yes, it happened to me. But in my own case, what really happened is that I use the Airbus. The Airbus is like the double-decker bus we always use to the Frankfurt Flughafen, that's the Frankfurt airport. We always use it from Darmstadt to Frankfurt because I have to leave early in order to start my shift so I don't get late to work. So on this fateful day, it was raining, so the vending machine wasn't really working, and so I got on the bus with the intention of getting the tickets from the hub and off. This guy on black, he just walked up to me and he's like, Where is my ticket? He spoke German. Where's my ticket? And then I was explaining to him that because the machine was faulty, I had to go to the Hauptbahnhof, which is the next stop after losing Platz, so I could get the ticket for the bus. He really didn't want to hear. I spoke all the German I could. He wasn't willing to hear. The next thing he did was he asked me for my Ausweis, which I showed him that I'm a student. And then the next thing I saw him, he was, typing like on this small scanner he had with him, did everything. And then the next thing he printed out this paper. Yes, I couldn't make a video when all that happened because I was really pissed. And so I couldn't make any video. As you can see, it states the fine I have to pay, which is 60 euro. By the way, the fare to the airport is 3.80 euro, which is like a discount because I'm a student. But because I was issued this fine, so I have to pay 60 euros fine instead of 3.80 euro. So it's like an inflated price. A fine, that's what it is. And I was given until the date written here to pay, and if I don't pay, it keeps increasing by each day. Guys, it's not worth it. So that's what happened. I got booked, I was fined, and I had to pay the 60 euro. It's not worth it. Again, it's really not worth it. As against 3.80 euro, I had to pay 60 euros. I know what 60 euro would have done for me. It was really painful when I was paying it to the bank account I was given. Number 4 would be never use the Nazi salute or the Nazi sign. It's quite offensive to the Germans and you could face big trouble for this. Never use anything associated with the Nazi. Number 5, do not disrespect the quiet time. Especially if you're just coming to Germany. This might seem a little bit off, but it is what it is here. Don't be surprised if your neighbor calls the police on you because of you flaunting this particular rule. Law on its own, so if your neighbor calls the police on you, he or she is actually on their right. So in German it's called the Stiller Stellen. That's what it's called. I'm going to write it on the screen so you can see it. It's from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next day. Number 6, do not rely on card payment only. Do not rely on card payment only. It will be surprising for you to know that in Germany there are still so many stores that accept cash only. Please have your cash handy when you visit some of these kind of shops. Number 7, do not expect free water in restaurants. Yes, do not expect free water in restaurants. It's surprising, yeah? I know, it's also surprising to me, but I'm now used to it. When you go to most restaurants, water is being paid for. Yes, it's being paid for. If you order a meal, you get served your meal, but if you want water, then you have to pay for the water. So before we continue this video, I'm sure you're getting value for this video. So do well to hit the subscribe button, share this video, also like, that way it gets to a wider audience. And of course, it's a small channel, we are still growing. You can follow me on Instagram. You can send me a direct message and I'll always respond whenever I see them. Let's get back into this video. Number 8 is a little bit funny, but it's what it is. I've actually experienced it in some houses I've visited in Germany, and yes, it's funny, but it's actually a thing here, so do not enter a house with your shoes on. Do not enter a house with your shoes on, except the owner of the house tells you, okay, you could come in with your shoes. But when you enter a typical German house, you're going to see somewhere where you could put your shoes while you are inside the house. You don't take your shoes inside the house. So yes, except the owner of the house tells you, oh no, you could actually come on in. You don't need to take off your shoes. Then you can do that. 9, it's also funny because it's like a thing that happens in some countries, but in Germany, it's a no-no. So you don't get to wish people a happy birthday in advance because it's a sign of bad luck. It's a belief, it's a sign of bad luck, according to the Germans. So I know in my country, I always hear this thing, although I'm not a fan of it, I always hear in Adi, oh, I wish you happy birthday in advance. No, in Germany, you don't wish people happy birthday in advance. You actually wait for the day of the birthday and then you wish them a happy birthday. Number 10, which is the last but not the least, would be you don't leave shopping carts lying in Germany. You don't see that anywhere. So what happens is when you go to a shopping mall and you get, before you get the cart, you have to put in a coin, for you to be able to use the cart. And when you're done using the cart, you have to take it back to where you got the cart, initially, and take back your coin, except you don't want the coin, but it's a thing here, people value their money, so they take back the cart back and then take their money. That way you don't find carts littered everywhere. For me, I feel it's a good thing, it's a good culture, and it's a good rule. That way you keep the place neat and not looking just scattered, because there are some places or in some countries where you just see carts all over the place. It's not nice, but this is a good rule. I have seen it in different malls I've visited in Darmstadt here, and I give this a thumbs up. It's a good one. Also, I'm going to be giving you a bonus tip, number 11, which is also important and could get you a fine if you're not careful. People do this a lot. Trust me, you don't want to be doing it. Like in some states, it's really taken seriously and you could be fined. So people always jaywalk. So this is where the traffic light, for example, is. And then you always have like the signal where you press if you want to cross the road. And then unless it turns green, then you can cross. But you have the traffic light here, and then it's green, and then you're crossing from a far end, because you have to cross from this point. Angle, you find out that people are crossing from a different angle. No, you have to cross from here. People are actually just using a different route instead of where you're supposed to cross from. You could be fined for this. This also applies to cars, bikes, bicycles, not obeying traffic lights. If you don't obey traffic light, no matter how free the road is, obey the traffic light, you will be really fined for it, because you not obeying the traffic light could cause accident. I've seen it in different occasions where someone actually disobeyed the traffic light, and just by the corner, the police were already there waiting for him, and he was arrested, and he got fined, he got heavily fined, for this. And trust me, the money you pay, you ask yourself, is it really worth it? You just have to wait for 2-3 minutes for the traffic light to turn green for you to go. So why do you want to waste money on something that you are meant to, just simply obey? So yeah, there you have it. These are 10 things you shouldn't be doing in Germany. There are so many of them, but I just had to narrow them down to these 10. Some of them are really serious. Some of them sound funny, but in all, you should try to adhere to these things, because when you come to different countries, you should also learn to, understand how things are done, you live an easy life and not get into any form of trouble. So yeah, I remain your boy, evalsametta, aka Sammy Sticks, aka that fresh yummy hot chocolate, and on to the next one. Choose.